success the way Helinski has played so far?
I think Ryan's done a good job. I think what we're asking Ryan to do is very difficult. It's really hard. You face some of the defenses we faced. Complex, especially when you get to third down. There's a bunch of really good players on the field. The game's moving extremely fast. You go back and look at Charleston Southern, he starts 12 for 12. There's times we can't do that on air. And then you go to the Alabama game, and I thought he handled himself extremely well. But anytime you're a young player, especially at that position, and in all positions, but especially at that one, there's going to be some ups and downs. I think he's handled it extremely well. He's very mature. He's obviously been through some tough times, which I think's hardened him a little bit in handling difficult times and situations. So I've been really proud of him. And again, when we talk in terms of improving the throwing game, it's not all one person. It's across the board, from protection, from catching the football, from running the right route, running the right route at the right depth. I mean, there's a lot of things involved in that, and that's something that we need to improve at multiple spots in throwing the football.
I know Rico Dowdle is not going to be available to you, but just talk about the production you've gotten out of Tavion Feaster and how valuable he has been to your offense.
He's been great. You know what? You never really know in those situations, especially a guy as a senior coming in. We told him exactly his situation coming in. It's kind of how it panned out. And he's been a great teammate. I told him today, I wish you were an underclassman because I really like having you around. You're a fun guy to be around. He comes out and competes at practice. He's always got a smile on his face. He's a talented guy, but he's been a fun to be around. He really has. And we're very fortunate to have. We're also fortunate to have Mon Denson. And it's been a frustrating year for Mon, a guy that has played a lot of football for us. He's been a really good special teams member, but it's been frustrating being the third back, and I understand that. But he'll have his opportunities on Saturday, and he'll play well.
Thank you.
Next question is from Ed Ashoff of ESPN.
Will, a couple of weeks ago when you guys played Georgia, what did you guys do defensively that worked so well against Jake Fromm and got him off his game?
Well, I mean, again, we were able to pressure with four guys, and I think that's a key when you play him. He's a great football player, really smart, very accurate with the football, and we had good coverage at times, and he was able to throw the ball in there. But I think I credit our guys. We made some plays on the ball. We did some nice things and mixed some things up. Having an off week before them helped us, obviously, to be able to work on some different things and have a little bit more time. But again, I think being able to rush four guys is key.
And you just saw Florida's secondary. I know they haven't had a ton of time to really work together because of health issues, but when those guys are playing with their core, just how difficult can it be to go against them?
Well, it's just, you got two guys outside of Marco and CJ that are really good players. I mean, those guys can cover. When you're throwing, into those windows, they're very tight windows. And that's the thing. And you gotta, especially when third down becomes an adventure, because Todd does a really good job of mixing man and zone and pressure, trapping the flat and carrying people, and there's just different looks that he presents, and there's different issues that he presents, and that's what you got to be able to adjust. Now, obviously, Jake's a guy that's he's seen a lot of those things, and if there's anyone equipped at this time to handle that, certainly Jake's a guy that can do that.
Thank you.
Next question is from Blake Topmeyer of the Knoxville Sentinel.
Hey, Will. How do you prepare for Tennessee's quarterback situation and the possibility that someone like J.T. Shrout could start who doesn't have much on film?
Well, I believe he has 25 snaps from this year. So it is what it is. I mean, that's it. I think at the end of the day, they're going to be who they are, and Jim Chaney does a fantastic job as coordinator of identifying the things they need to do. I think really going into the Mississippi State game, they made a statement they were committed to running the football and protecting the ball, and they did an outstanding job of that the last 2 weeks, and their offensive line played their best game against Alabama. So But again, I think all three quarterbacks are similar. Does one run better than the other? Probably, but they all have arm talent. We recruited JT when I was here, so we have respect for all three guys.
You mentioned the run game. Just what do you see from Tennessee's offensive line this season, particularly maybe the way they've progressed the last couple of weeks?
Well, it's just hard in this league. The closer your position moves to the ball, the more difficult it is to play. And you have two freshman offensive tackles, and both of those guys have done a nice job continuing to progress through the year. Obviously, Will Friend's a really good football coach, and he does a great job with them. And I think you see week to week them continuing to improve and get better. And they're big, they're physical. They've narrowed some things down in the run game that they do extremely well. They get a hat on a hat in the run game. But I like their backs. I really do. I mean, those guys are really good players. They run violent. They're both bigger guys in the lower body, Jordan and Chandler, and then Eric Gray's a really good changeup, the guy that we recruited that's a good player as well. So I think they have some talent at the running back position, and they do a good job. They're physical on the perimeter, and Jennings and Callaway and all those guys outside. They do a nice job. So again, they're regardless of who the quarterback is, they're going to run the football, and that's what they want to do.
Thank you.
Next question is from Colin Taylor of Gamecock Central.
Hey, Will. I know you kind of mentioned Rico earlier, but what's kind of his status injury-wise right now, and along with Damani and AJ injury-wise?
Yeah, Rico's moving around pretty good, actually. I watched him today, and he's moving around. He's doing some individual with us and stuff like that, and he's not ready to play. He won't play this weekend. They originally had said 2 weeks / 3 weeks, so we're still kind of working through that right now. Damani's out right now. He's not going to have any surgery required. He has a turf toe, in essence, is what he's got. And you just got to work through that right now. It's very painful, and he's dealing with that right now. AJ did not practice today. So, we'll see what he can do tomorrow. But, normally my deal is if you don't practice Wednesday, you probably going to have a hard time getting to Saturday. But we'll see what happens. Who knows? And it's been a frustrating year for AJ. He's an outstanding young man. He's a senior. He's had a great year on special teams, but it certainly has not panned out exactly as he, I, or anyone in this program would have anticipated going into the year. It's been very frustrating for him with all the injuries that started in camp. And he's an outstanding young man. I wish things had gone a little better to this point, but we still have a lot of football to play.
Is a medical redshirt possible for AJ? I know he redshirted earlier in his career, but is that something y'all are looking into?
Well, I think he's already gone past a number of games that they would probably look at, but that's certainly something we have had discussion, and so we'll continue to look at that.